We're back. You, me, us. We are back with another episode. What is this intro? I'm keeping this. We are back with another episode of a Nation United Rock Flag and Eagle, the Team USA Road to Glory series. And in this episode, we begin the 2023-2024 season. It was another off season of change. We actually had a decent draft for the first time in a long time, really. And that has led to this team that you see before you. This is the squad that we are taking in to this season. How well will they do? Well, that's another question, but I'm intrigued to find out. The top line of Jack Hughes, Middlestat, and Brady Tkachuk. We're trying something different by having Hughes at left and by dropping Besser down to the second line where he'll be with Wahlstrom and Larkin. The third line of Frederick, Paling, and Greenway. Intrigued to see what they can do. Was tempted to drop Paling down to the fourth line just because he's not that much of a point getter, but we'll see. We'll give him an opportunity. Bertuzzi, Norris, and Farabee make up the fourth line. And defensively, one big new name. Of course, Werenski and McAvoy are still there. Quinn Hughes is with Roger Reimer, that big-time addition, the 10th overall pick that we traded up to acquire. Excited to have him on the team. Max Gilden is on the third pairing. Again, a well-rounded defenseman. Not the best of the best, but he can do a job, hopefully, for us. And he is with Casey Fitzgerald. So, defensively, we're not quite in a perfect situation, but we're okay. And goaltending-wise, all things considered, we're looking pretty good with Jake Ottinger and Brent Timmins. The pressure is on Ottinger to deliver this season because Brent Timmins looks like the real deal, but it is his first season in the NHL. As mentioned, I've gone ahead and signed a bunch of free agents, so we have a mix of prospects and veterans on the team, including guys like Bobby Ryan. Defensively, intrigued to see what happens. Grant Olson and Gabriel Ernie. The second wave of defensemen that will be joining the team sometime soon. Someone like Cody Pitt and Tommy Murphy could also make it. Wade Pellick. So that's why I'm not too upset about our defensive pairings looking a little bit weak on paper. That's not going to be the case for that much longer. I also made one trade off screen, acquiring 2 third-round picks for Benton Moss and Harry Wild. You might have noticed they weren't in the lineup in the AHL. We didn't have space for them, so we acquire some draft picks instead. With that said, I think we're good to go. The scouting is set up. Our captaincy is set up. We're good to go. I don't really think we have anything else to do. I named Ryan Paling captain, Middlestat as an alternate, and Charlie McAvoy as an alternate. I know. I named a Habs prospect captain over Charlie McAvoy. I'm a terrible, filthy traitor. The one thing that we are going to have to pay attention to, of course, throughout this season is mid-season signings. We have a couple of names that we need to worry about. Just slightly. Just slightly. Although I think money-wise we're fine. $19 million. That's actually not as much as I thought it was. That should be enough, though, to re-sign McAvoy, Larkin, Paling, and Farabee. Timmins, though, I'm a little bit more concerned about because he doesn't want to re-sign, and that could be worrisome. I'm going to worry about those mid-season re-signings as we get closer to deadline day, though. With that said, I think we're good to go. So let's do this, shall we? A new season begins, a new challenge, and I'm sure this team... Why is the trigger not working? And I'm sure this team will find a way to disappoint me yet again. Because that's all it's been in the history of the Nations United series. Whether it was the original Nations United, which of course was using countries that weren't the big five. You know, Canada, US, Sweden, Finland, Russia. Whether it was the Swedish Nation United and now this... We haven't had a ton of success, and I figured, well, number one, I figured we wouldn't be using the States. I figured that Finland would win, as they finished runner-up to Sweden back in NHL 17. That was not the case. We go with the U.S., and we kind of labeled, in terms of difficulty, I mean, Canada being the easiest, probably the U.S. being second easiest, so to speak, and then Finland... And then you'd probably imagine Russia if we don't consider Sweden again, which, again, you would have thought that we'd have success with Sweden. That was not the case. That was not the case. If you haven't watched that series, feel free to check it out. It's an interesting dive, and it's an interesting descent into madness, really, I think is the best way for me to phrase it. Anybody that experienced that series as we went along with it, I think might still be surprised that I'm still able to put together logical thought on occasion, just because that series ruined me mentally. It was a fun time. And now we're in this series where consistently we have been disappointed, and perhaps shockingly, we are terrible right now in the regular season, which is something I was hoping to avoid. I was hoping we'd find a way to snap out of it. That does not appear to be the case. 4-11-2. Doesn't seem like the record you'd expect from a team which had a 94 for offense, 95 defense, and 86 in goaltending, I do believe, when I checked our team ratings before I started this episode. Let's take a look at what our team ratings are, just for the hell of it. 95, 96, and 89. Yet, that's our record. 4 wins, was it? You know, I was talking about potential disappointment just a moment ago. Now here we are. Here we are. So Jack Hughes has 5 points and is a -2. Middlestat with 9 points and 10 points for Tkachuk. 8 points for Wahlstrom. 4 for Larkin. All right. I think I'm going to trade Brock Besser sooner rather than later. He is just not cutting it. That second line isn't cutting it. No matter what the hell I do with Besser, he just can't get his shit together. So that's good. I guess I'm going to go Tkachuk, Middlestat, Besser again, and we'll put Wahlstrom on the right. Who's the better center here? I'm going to give it to Hughes. I guess we'll go with this. See how it goes. How's the third line doing? 5 points, 4 points, 5 points, and the fourth line has been miserable. Lovely. This is, all right, here, I'm going to swap Farabee and Bertuzzi, and we'll see how they do. Defensively, what are we looking like? Oh, yep, okay, that's great. Let's go with Hughes, McAvoy, Werenski, Reimer. Let's do that. How's the goaltending been? Ottinger has 2 wins and 13 appearances. 2. You know, before I even got to mention that there was some cautious optimism for this episode, that I was happy with the team in its current state, we just decided that we're going to take this season off. And we're going to wait for some of those defensive reinforcements, apparently. Maybe, just maybe, the subtle lineup changes we just implemented will be enough to turn this around. Or maybe it won't be. Maybe it won't be. I got to admit, I kind of don't even feel like going through and changing things about this team. Maybe we just need to suck for a couple of years. We have consistently been on the edge of, at the very least, a playoff team. Maybe this is what's supposed to happen. Maybe we're just supposed to be bad for a long time. Maybe we're not supposed to win with the Bessers of the world, which then again, it's not like Brock Besser's done much for us in this series. He's been the biggest disappointment, I'd say, out of anybody. Over Austin Matthews, over anybody else, Brock Besser has easily been the biggest disappointment. I guess on the bright side, we're battling back towards 500, though, with a strong effort here in December. But barely being 500. As a matter of fact, I mean, if you just factor all losses as losses, we're still 4 games under. Not exactly where I thought we'd be right about now. I think that's a safe bet for pretty much everyone. I mean, hey, it might not be the strongest version of our team. I don't think anyone expected us to be struggling and below 500 as of January 1st. But that is the case. 18, 18, and 3. I guess I'll look at the lineup again. I don't know what changes I'll make. I don't know if I'll call up or send anybody down. I might just let this team flounder. We're 1 point out of the playoffs. 1 point out of a wild card spot right now. So it could be worse. Let's see. Brady Tkachuk. Right. 24 points in 39 games. Casey Middlestat has 20 points in 39 games. And Brock Besser has 17 points and is a -6. 14 points for Larkin. Wow, so just everyone's underperforming? Just universally, everyone's going to underperform this season. Is that what I'm being told here, basically? Kachuk's doing well. I can't really swap him. Wouldn't make sense. Larkin, Wahlstrom, Besser didn't work. Kachuk, Middlestat, and Hughes didn't work. So let's go Kachuk, Middlestat, Wahlstrom, Larkin, Hughes, Besser. What's the worst that could happen? What, are we going to continue to lose games? Probably. Oh my god, Zach Werenski is just... Have fun playing with Fitzgerald now. I mean, it's just... Oh god, this is cursed. This series idea is cursed. Isn't it? Just whenever it looks like we might have a strong balance, someone like Zach Werenski decides, I'm going to be a minus 14. Just for no reason. I'm going to be a minus 14 right now. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be optimistic, hopeful for the future. It means the same thing, basically. Yet, we're sitting here, now a couple points out of a playoff spot, with nearly everybody on our team underperforming, despite having one of the best versions of a roster we've had so far in the series. Definitely not the best. We've had teams that have been better than this fail, but a pretty strong squad. Yet here we are. Here we stand. Losing games left and right. Is there, you know what? No, let's hold up. Let's time out. Time out. Let's just calm down for a second. How's the scouting report looking? How's the draft class looking? Do we have any strong Americans in this draft? Because that would be incredibly helpful. If that's the case, then hey, I might just be okay with being terrible this year. And the answer, outside of London, is no. There's actually, hey, that's kind of cool if there's a Ukrainian who might be up there. And a Friggin. Good old Bobby Friggin. We have Pandolfo, we have Dingle. Okay, well, you know, there might be a chance. There might be a chance of there being some decent Americans in the upcoming draft. That could present an opportunity to us to perhaps just sell off everybody that's continuing to disappoint me on a personal level and emotional level. Right. Let's go ahead and sim to the deadline. Let's sim to the deadline. This might be a shorter episode. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Hit my hand on the desk. Felt great. What can this team do moving forward? We're starting to win games, so that's nice. We do end January with a loss. And begin February with a loss. Good. I'm surprised, by the way, that the Cleveland Monsters don't have a better record. Considering how well we have set up that team, it seems to be a bit ridiculous. But, you know, that's okay. It's all right. We'll be fine, maybe. Probably not. From the looks of it, we're not fine at all. I mean, we're technically 26-32 on the season. So we're approaching deadline day. We are going to have some questions to answer. Not only who might we have to get rid of to make sure that we can re-sign everybody, but whether or not we want to maybe get rid of a Zach Werenski and bring in draft picks and hope for the best there. That might work. That might be an alternative worth exploring. The key word, of course, is might. It's might, of which this team doesn't have much, if any. But that's okay. We'll just march on. We are 6 points out of a playoff spot right now. In the Atlantic, 64. All right, so really we're only 2 points out of a playoff spot. So we're still there, despite the fact that we're just awful. We're underperforming to such an extreme level. We're not completely out of it. My first question is goaltending. And Jake Ottinger's just been okay. In a season where we really needed him to prove himself, he's just been okay. 21 wins in 47 games, a .919 save percentage. Brent Timmons, though, not exactly making it worth it to me to get rid of Ottinger. Hasn't exactly proven that he's the guy. So I guess our goaltending will stay the same for the moment. Defensively, Quinn Hughes, 24 points, which I'm happy about. -7, though. Not so happy about that. Charlie McAvoy, 28 points, not bad. -6. -7 for Max Gilden. 10 points is nice, though. 14 points. -20 for the defensive specialist, Roger Reimer. -10 for Zach Werenski. And a +2 for Casey Fitzgerald. Right. Well, maybe we'll go Reimer and Werenski. Let's maybe reward people. Do I want to reward people solely off of plus-minus? Kind of. Maybe I should factor in points, though. I mean, that'd pretty much be condemning Gilden and Fitzgerald to the bottom pairing, of course. Which, I mean, if I reward people off of point totals, we're going back to the lines that we started the year with. So that's probably not for the best, if you really think about it. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, it's quite clear at this point. I'm frustrated over this whole situation. Where, what's the proper combination here to get this team to perform to the level that they should be able to perform at? The top line is looked to have gotten it going, although Wahlstrom being a -14 is concerning, Larkin at a -16. Jesus Christ, the plus-minus of the forwards on this team. In terms of assets that we have to potentially make moves, I'm not sure what that situation is, so let's find out. What are we dealing with here? We have Boston's first and the Rangers first, both of which are looking like solid options. The New York Rangers are at 27, 30, and 6, so we're not much better than them. The Bruins are at 23, 30, and 8. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Well, what could we do with those picks, though? Nothing. Aside from going out and reacquiring players we've had on this team before, like an Austin Matthews and etc. etc. So this episode for me has quickly taken a turn for the worst, where I just don't know what to do. We're close to a playoff spot, and that's nice, obviously, to not be complete garbage and to be close to a playoff spot. That's kind of the goal, year in and year out. But we are the 23rd ranked team. Thankfully, the Bruins are 28th, and the Rangers are 26th. So, we might have a chance at a couple of top 10 picks, which would be lovely. However, again, what do we do about the fact that we're underperforming to such an extreme level? What do we do with these expiring contracts? I'm going to take a look at who we can afford to keep. I suppose that's the first step. Who can we afford to keep? Now, again, Timmins, he's going to be a little bit difficult. Doesn't want to re-sign. We'll say 4.5 for him. So let's just say we got $15 million after that, right? Charlie McAvoy, willing to re-sign. All right, just drop that down to 6. Say we have $9 million left. And, oh boy. Between Larkin, Paling, and Farabee. Larkin's at 6 and doesn't want to re-sign. Paling's at 4, is willing to re-sign. And Farabee's under 2. So as it stands, we can't afford to re-sign everybody. Unless we look to move out, say, somebody. I'm not sure who that would be. Or unless we get rid of a Dylan Larkin. Which, might not be the worst idea. He was great when we acquired him at the deadline last season. He was great. He was great. And then the playoffs hit. And he has been garbage ever since. A -16, 27 points when he put up 64 last year. 19 games left to go in the season. He's not going to hit 40 points. It's It's kind of a frustrating situation to be in, isn't it? Isn't it? It is. Spoiler alert, it is. It's a frustrating situation to be in. With that said, as Ernie's up to an 80, which is great, we could, I don't even know if I'd want to move out Gilden. Might just call up Adam Ernie. For someone else, I mean, Werenski's been awful. Reimer's been terrible for some reason. He's up to an 85 right now. I don't know what to do with this team. I gotta be honest. I don't know what to do with this team. I don't know what direction we want to go in. That's the problem right now. I don't know what direction we want to go in. Do we want to try and still be a playoff team? Maybe this team finds its way. We sneak in, and anything can happen from there. Do we want to maybe look to get rid of some players that haven't exactly gotten it done? Maybe they were the problem over the people that we got rid of. Maybe they turned out to be the problem. And by the way, when looking at the money situation that we currently have, trading Dylan Larkin would be nice. I mean, aside from someone like Fitzgerald making a bit too much money, we could easily ditch him, no problem. I don't know what to do. You know what? Again, this wasn't the plan, but I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to end it here. Didn't expect to have such a short episode, but I want to hear from you. What do we do with this team moving forward? Do we just look to make it? Who do we trade to make sure that we can re-sign people? Do we get rid of Dylan Larkin? What do we do? I think I want to hear from you. I want to reassess my options on a different day. You know, I say the majority of the time that every episode could be a major one for the series, and I think this one is. Because what looked like a pretty good setup has completely collapsed. Not completely, but barely being a wild card team isn't exactly my ideal scenario here. It's not my idea of a successful situation. That's not my idea of where this team should be and where this team is capable of being. So with that, you know what you can do to support the video on the channel? I don't got to tell you. You know, and if you haven't done it already, you're not going to do it, so I'm not going to try to convince you. Check out the description. Fun stuff there. And I will see you all next time, where, shocker, major things are going to happen. Because this team has no stability whatsoever and cannot catch a break.